Hi, greetings. It's me, Dr. Paul Gerhardt, and this is the 14th video in my Human Resource Management video series. If you're interested in being in human resources or you need a refresher about laws, regulations, or things to consider as an employer as it relates to managing human resources, this is the video series for you. So I hope that you can take some of the information here and find it useful. So again, I'm going to be talking about providing employee benefits in this 14th video in my Human Resource Management series. And so in this video, we're going to talk about the importance of benefits as a part of employee compensation. We're going to talk about employee benefits that are required by law. We'll talk a little bit about different forms of paid leave, insurance benefits that are offered to employees, retirement plans that are offered by employers, benefits that match employees' wants and needs, and talk a little bit about different benefit packages that some organizations use. So employees really have a lot of choices these days, and it is up to every employer to try to attract and retain the most talented employees possible, right? We've been talking about that in this whole series. And part of that is making sure that you as an employer have the right benefit packages. So again, benefit packages really significantly contribute to attracting, retaining, and also motivating employees. They help employers tailor their compensation to the kinds of employees that they need. Employees have really come to expect that benefits will help maintain their economic security. And benefits truly have a significant cost for most organizations, so you really have to consider your benefit packages and weigh out the pros and cons. Let's face it, prices continue to go up for almost everything, and as an employer, it's the same thing with benefit packages. These days, over 30% of a compensation package for employees really makes up that compensation package today. Whereas back in the 1980s, it was really around 25-26%. So every year it continues, costs continue to go up. And so that's something that you've got to consider. And if you don't have the right benefit package, you're probably losing potential valuable employees. So it's amazing how powerful a benefit package is. Certain packages or benefits truly are required by law, and so I'll talk a little bit about that. Tax laws can make benefits favorable to employees, and employers can get volume discounts on insurance. Creative benefit packages can help make companies more competitive, and it's so true. You have to be able to have the right people in the right places doing the right thing to make your companies as successful as possible. There are some benefits that are required by law. For instance, almost everybody's heard of Social Security, right? And so flat payroll tax goes to both employees and employers. Unemployment insurance is a payroll tax on employers that really depends on your state requirements and experience rating. Workers' compensation insurance is required, and that provides coverage according to state requirements. Premiums depend on experience rating. Family and medical leave, up to 12 weeks of unpaid leave for childbirth, adoption, or serious illness, according to that Leave Act. And then health care. For employers with at least 50 employees, they pay a fee to the federal government if the employer does not meet the conditions for providing health insurance benefits. Social Security may not be around when I'm ready to retire, or you for that sake, but it is required benefit of the law. So what Social Security is federal old age survivors disability and health care insurance, or OASDHI. And It combines old age retirement insurance, survivors insurance, disability insurance, hospital insurance, that's Medicare Part A, and then supplementary medical insurance, which is Medicare Part B. Social Security is one of those payroll taxes that both employees and employers share a percentage that are to pay that are set by the law. In 2016, employers and employees each paid a tax of 7.65 on the first $118,500 of the employee's earnings. Of that, the majority goes to the OASDI, and 2.9% of earnings go to Medicare Part A. For earnings above $118,500, only the 2.9 for Medicare is assessed, with half paid by the employer and half paid by the employee. With unemployment insurance, it's federally mandated and administered by the states to minimize unemployment hardships. Most funding comes from the federal and state taxes on employers, and the size of unemployment tax imposed on each employer really depends on the employer's experience rating. So careful HR planning can minimize layoffs and keep the experience rating favorable. So with unemployment insurance, to receive benefits, workers must meet 4 conditions. They must meet requirements demonstrating that they had been employed, that they are available to work, they are actively seeking work, and they were not discharged for cause. They didn't quit voluntarily and are not out of work because of a labor dispute. So with workers' compensation, state programs provide benefits to workers who suffer work-related injuries or illness and to them or their survivors, and they operate under the principle of no-fault liability. That's the employee does not need to show that the employer was grossly negligent in order to receive compensation, and an employer is protected from lawsuits. There really are 4 major categories of the benefits: disability income, medical care, death benefits, and rehabilitative benefits. About 9 out of 10 U.S. workers are covered by state workers' compensation laws, and the amount of benefits of the income varies from state to state. Generally, it's about 2/3 of the worker's earnings before the disability, and the benefits are tax-free. With workers' compensation, the cost of workers' compensation really depends on the kind of occupations involved, the state where the company is located, and the employer's experience rating. An unfavorable experience rating leads to higher insurance premiums. So most employers do everything they can to keep that rating low. Let's talk about the 8th required law, which is the Family and Medical Leave Act, or the FMLA of 1993. And this requires organizations with 50 or more employees to provide up to 12 weeks of unpaid leave after childbirth or adoption, to care for a seriously ill family member, for an employee's own serious illness. And employers must guarantee that these employees return to the same or comparable job. So their jobs are guaranteed when they come back after 12 weeks. It's like 3 months, right? And then you have to be aware of the Pregnancy Discrimination Act, which can be combined with this act. So insurance is an optional benefit. Some employers offer both life and medical insurance. Health insurance for dependents and domestic partners. So these are optional benefit programs. Retirement plans are optional. Paid leave, vacations and holidays are optional. Paid leave, some of the most common are vacations, holidays, and sick leave. Optional are jury duty, funerals or family members, military duty, voting or giving blood, paid holidays, Sick leave is often based on length of service. Personal days, days off for personal needs, floating holidays, paid holidays that vary from year to year, and then paid time off is a pool of days that the employee can use just as he or she wants. Insurance groups are something to consider. With medical insurance, about 70% of all full-time employees in the U.S. receive medical benefits. Policies typically cover hospital expenses, surgical expenses, and visits to physicians. Additional coverage could include dental care, vision care, birthing centers, prescription drug programs, mental health Parity and Addiction Equity Act of 2008. The medical insurance, or COBRA if you get laid off. COBRA stands for Consolidated Omnibus Budget Reconciliation Act of 1985, and that's COBRA. That's a federal law that requires employers to permit employees or their dependents to extend their health insurance coverage or group rates for up to 36 months following a layoff, reduction in hours, or death benefits, employee's death. Health care costs continue to rise. In the United States, they are almost double the expense as compared to gross domestic product. And Mexico has one of the lowest, and the United States is by far one of the highest. With life insurance, employers may provide life insurance to employees and offer an opportunity to buy coverage at a lower group rate. Term life insurance, if the employee dies during the term of the policy, the employee's beneficiaries receive the death benefit payment. Other optional benefit programs are short-term disability insurance, where the insurance that pays a percentage of disabled employee's salary as benefits to the employee for 6 months or less. Long disability insurance, this is insurance that pays a percentage of a disabled employee's salary after an initial period and potentially for the rest of that employee's life. Retirement plans are also optional programs, and about half of employees working in private business sector have an employer-sponsored retirement plan. Maybe it's a contributory plan. It's a retirement plan funded by contributions from the employer and the employee. A non-contributory plan where the retirement fund is entirely funded by employer contributions, and then a defined benefit plan, which is a pension plan that guarantees a specific level of income after retirement, and the employer sets up a pension fund to invest contributions such as plans that meet funding requirements of Employee Retirement Income Security Act, which is ERISA of 1974. Excuse me, I gotta sneeze. All right, so you really have to consider these days that people 65 and older use Social Security as their biggest means of income. About 19% of Americans are using pension retirement savings, and about 30% are using earnings. So we really have, as employers, have to consider what attracts us as an employer for potential employees, and it helps retain them, right? The Employee Retirement Income Security Act, or ERISA, as I mentioned, is a federal law that increased the responsibility of a pension plan trustee to protect retirees. It has established certain rights related to vesting and portability, and it created a Pension Benefit Guarantee Corporation. The Pension Benefit Guarantee Corporation, or the PBGC, is a federal agency that ensures retirement benefits and guarantees retirees a basic benefit if the employer experiences financial difficulty. Some retirement plans have a defined contribution plan. The employer sets up an individual account for each employee and specifies the size of the investment into that account. There are money purchase plans, profit sharing and employee stock ownership plans, Section 401k plans, cash balance plan, in which the employer sets up an individual account for each employee and contributes a percentage of the employee's salary. The government requirements for vesting and communication. Vesting rights guarantee that when employees become participants in a pension plan for a specified number of years, they'll receive a pension at a retirement age regardless of whether they remained with the employer. Summary of the plan description includes the plan's funding, eligibility requirements, risks, and then other details. Employers also provide an individual benefit statement which describes employees' vested and uninvested. So family-friendly benefits that you may consider as an employer are family leave, child care, college savings, elderly care. I just read about how some companies are doing pet benefits, and allowing people to bring their pets to work. Lots of different ways to attract and maintain employees. So other quality of life benefits should be considered. Subsidized cafeterias, on-site health care services, moving and relocation expenses, employee discounts on products, employee buying services, tuition reimbursement, on-site fitness centers, on-site dry cleaning services, dues for professional organizations, off-site company recreation areas, and pet services. So really, when you are selecting employees' benefits, the organization's objectives should consider your organizational goals, your objectives, and of course your budget. The expectations of the organization's current employees and potential future recruits. And an organization that does not offer expected benefits truly will have difficulty attracting and keeping employees. So, to establish and maintain an employee benefit program that is based primarily on the employee's needs for leisure time and on protection against the risk of old age, loss of health, and loss of life. To establish and maintain an employee benefit program that complements the efforts of employees on their own behalf. To evaluate the employee benefit plan annually for its effect on employee morale and productivity, giving consideration to turnover, unfilled positions, attendance, employees' complaints, and employee opinions. To compare the employee benefit plan annually with that of other leading companies in the same field, and to maintain a benefit plan with an overall level of benefits based on cost per employee that falls within the percentile of these companies. So you want to maintain a level of benefits for non-union employees that represent the same level of expenditures for employees that are in a union, and you really have to determine annual costs of new, change, and existing programs as percentages of salaries and wages to maintain these percentages as much as possible. Other benefit objectives also include self-funded benefits that extend a long-run cost savings for a firm in case of loss. You can avoid those. To coordinate all benefits and social insurance programs to which the company makes payments. To provide benefits on a non-contributory basis except for dependent coverage, for which employees should pay a portion of that cost. And then maintain continual communications with employees concerning benefit programs. You really must make a good selection for employee benefits. You have to meet employee expectations and values. Employees expect to receive benefits that are legally required and widely available. They value benefits that they're likely to use, and then they value differs from one employee to another. So when you're selecting employee benefits, you can address differences in employees' needs and empower the employees by offering flexible benefit programs and in place of single benefit packages that for everybody. You can have a cafeteria style plan with benefits that offers employees a set of alternatives from which they can choose the type of amounts of benefits that they want. There are ways to save money too. You can shift from traditional health insurance to PPOs and CDHPs. You can shift more of the costs to the employees. You can exclude or limit coverage for certain types of claims, and you can learn which providers and treatments deliver the best value. There are some tax benefits. A more favorable treatment of benefits classified as qualified plans, in which employees may immediately take a tax deduction for the funds they contribute to the plans, and the plan must meet specific requirements. There are anti-discrimination laws, which are intended to provide equal employment opportunity without regard to race, sex, age, disability, and several other protected categories. There's the Pregnancy Discrimination Act, Age Discrimination and Employment Act, or the ADEA, the Older Benefits Protection Act of 1990, the Americans with Disability Act, the accounting requirements, the Financial Accounting Standards Board, or the FASB, that ensure financial statements are a true picture of the company's financial status, and employers must set aside the funds they expect to need for the benefits to be paid after retirement. Organizations truly must communicate benefit information to employees. Sometimes they have a specific person or people that's their job, and it really can be difficult for employees and job applicants to understand the value of their benefits, and so it really is important for employers to help employees as much as possible understand what their benefits are. Okay, so I've talked for over 22 minutes, and I know that I've given you a lot of technical information, but these are just things for you to consider as an employer or a human resource professional consider for your employer. And so I hope that you have taken some information here and found it useful, and even more important than that, I hope that you have a great day, because only you get to choose how you feel about it. I'm Dr.